Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In this week's episode, we're doing kind of a body check and we're doing the truth behind social media versus reality. I feel like this is a really prevalent topic because I feel like all of us are on social media nowadays as teenagers, and I really want to kind of spread awareness on it and talk a little bit about how to change your mindset. So if this is something that you're interested in or you just want to support the podcast, as always, continue listening to this week's episode. Hey guys, it's Mia. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Teen Talk Central. In this week's episode, we are doing something a little deeper and we're kind of talking about the ideas of comparing our bodies. I know, especially as a girl, it is pretty easy to compare yourself to what is being posted on social media nowadays, just because of the fact that it's so kind of easy to be able to compare yourself. So I feel like we all have this moment where we're scrolling like TikTok, Instagram, and we kind of see like this perfect body. And I want us to think for a minute about why do we compare ourselves to people who don't even look like that in real life. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that you can use filters. There's like, you can kind of change and alter the way your body looks for a couple seconds. Like you can suck in, it's all the angling, lighting, all of that. And I think there's a way to pose your body online to make it look different. Like, for example, I can maybe pose my body and look completely different online than I actually do in person by, sucking in and all that stuff, like editing your photos. And there's this highlight reel culture in our lives that everyone posts at their best angles and not their everyday reality. I think a lot of people just post like a couple clips that they look good in, out of like, we see maybe 15 seconds of what they look like in their 24-hour reality. And I think the trends of, body checking or being that girl aesthetic, that honestly fuels the comparison. I think that is probably the start of it, because that makes you think about like, oh, like let me check my body and like see like what those girls have and I don't. And then this kind of kickstarts this thing that you didn't even like. It could kickstart insecurities that you didn't even have at first, but then now because you checked, you do now, which is obviously something that we want to avoid. And then studies basically show that social media use increases body dissatisfaction, especially in teens. Like you can literally search up like anything on the internet, and any study published by psychologists or neuroscientists will show you that social media alters kind of the way that you think about your own body. So I think that's definitely, if you guys are really interested in this, it's definitely something to look into. And I think social media has, at least for me especially, taught me that I used to think that certain things were not normal because of the fact that other people didn't have them. So for example, bloating. I feel like a lot of influencers, like, I think they're slowly starting to talk about it, but there was a time where bloating was like considered not normal. Like if you were bloating, there was like something completely wrong with you. And I think that has really like messed with a lot of people's brains. Also, I think the idea of stretch marks and acne and different body shapes, all of that stuff, I feel like at a certain point, social media, they weren't telling us it was bad, but they were telling us like it's not quote unquote normal, But everything, like, that is so normal. I bloat all the time. I have stretch marks. I have acne. I have a different body shape than people. I am not what you would consider the social media perfect body, but does that mean that I don't have a good body or I don't have, what works best for me? No, it means that like everyone's different. If everyone was the same, this world would be so boring. I think the beauty of this world is that everyone is different. Everyone looks different. Everyone brings something different to the table. And that's what makes our world unique. And also, I think people don't understand that bodies change as you grow, especially when you're a teenager. I think for me, like, my body has definitely changed from my freshman year to my senior year, just in terms of, like, where my fat is located on my body, my acne, my skin journey, my hair journey. Everything has changed, and that is 100% normal as a teenager. Teens are kind of in this era where they're supposed to be growing and changing. I think if you're not, and if you look, if you haven't changed and like, maybe you're a little bit underweight, and you think that's because you have to be skinny and normal, no. I think it's so much more important to be at your own healthy. I think everyone's definition of healthy is completely different, and that's something that you kind of have to figure out on your own. And I think for me, I really realized that I wanted to not just make a change because I wanted to look like the girls on social media, but it was more of a mental change. I felt like I was a little bit bigger, and I felt like I had fat in places I didn't want it to. So then I, as a personal Kickstarter, kind of decided to start going to the gym, and I lost a good amount of weight, and I kind of toned up my body. But I think it all did fuel from social media and the idea of comparison, which I feel like is a lot of the reason why young teenage girls go to the gym, is because they want to look a certain way. And also, I think people don't understand genetics plays a huge role. Some girls will post on TikTok I never work out, but I have perfect abs. People in the comments this is so unfair. Honey, it's genetics. And there's really nothing that either of you guys can do, right? She can't change her genetics, and you can't change yours. So there's a different baseline for normal for everyone. And the brain fixates on comparison because the dopamine hit of scrolling and the need for validation is really high. And you always want to constantly be look at this, look at this, look at this. So you constantly keep scrolling. That's just the cycle of the doom scroll, unfortunately. And I think the algorithms of social media just really, really, really pushed the idea of distorted body image. I think that's why, on Instagram you see people perfect bodies, perfect legs, perfect abs, and you don't understand there's a lot of editing that goes into those, probably good amount of lighting, all that stuff. Not saying that these girls are not beautiful. I think everyone is beautiful in their own way, but the way that some of these influencers are kind of posting on social media, you have to remember that they are most likely edited. And if it's not unedited, it's filter and lighting. Lighting plays a huge role in the way that your body can look. And I think comparison always just drains the energy that could be put into self-improvement. If you're going to spend 30 minutes scrolling on TikTok, go on a walk for 30 minutes or go to the gym for 30 minutes. Not saying that you have to, but just something that I could recommend. And just a way to detox from the comparison, one way you can do is unfollowing triggering accounts and trying to cleanse your algorithm and follow creators who show the unfiltered realities. For example, for me, in terms of gym influencers, I really like Hailey Fernandez, Amelie Desai. All of those influencers kind of show the reality. Yes, they have amazing gorgeous bodies, but they also show the reality of bloating and acne. Especially Amelie Desai. She is a sophomore at San Diego State, and I love watching her content. She truly shows both sides of being a girl, going to the gym and really working out to be the best version of yourself, but then she also tells us to take care of yourself. And I think that's something that's really important, is just taking care of yourself. And your body is really not meant to be content. It's meant to be lived in. I feel like people forget we live in our bodies our whole lives. This is one of the only things that truly stays with you from the minute you're born to the minute you pass away. And I think in order for you to kind of remember that, you have to practice gratitude for what your body can do, not just how it looks. And also mirror talks and affirmation habits also could help tremendously. And I think at the end of the day, people want what they don't have. If you have abs but you don't have a good butt or something, then you're going to want a good butt. But then people who have a good butt but don't have abs want that. So always remember that you can have something that other people don't have, and you should be grateful every day for what you do have. And just remember, reality doesn't need a filter, and the best version of you isn't the one that fits in. It's actually the one that feels 100% real. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Teen Talk Central. If you liked it, share with a friend. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in another episode. Bye.